and some for myself so be state where like now commentate a day amame. It's some mobamita to say the animacoboa and some abodo and medibi evedom. Ye bo a lecture say ye court na ya kotie ensembie efi wa chese ebobo ba esanse ensembi wo ha akosia mintumi enkan ti meso so be camera obe like here videos na wa share amanfofo na onso enye bia na ye monra na chese yenkotie ensembi bi embra.
In relation to the NDC suit in court I told you about, let's take you to court right now for details.
Saw the affidavit in opposition. Because how is Jane Mensah going to deny her own letter in response to the minority? But that notwithstanding, the judge says, without any contrary evidence from the EC or a deposition by the returning officers in their respective places, that the declaration that they made was fraudulent. But the judge said it was fraudulent. Where he got the evidence of fraud, I don't know. What is the remedy? Because my understanding is that at least somebody must come to court, put a rival evidence of fraud before you, or duress, and prove it. This morning, the EC only came and said on point of law. In fact, the Electoral Commission's own lawyer never talked about the videos. But the court said those elections are tainted with fraud. How he came to the conclusion that there was fraud, I don't know.
What is the next line of action? What remedies are you going to seek forward going forward?
No, we'll keep that to us.
Are you going to now, the process is going to happen, are you going to get ready for it?
I have 5 MPs, all of them here, duly declared by the Electoral Commission.
Will you take part in the coalition?
Jane Mensah sits in her office and says she had invalidated it. Do you know the danger if we allow this absurdity to continue? Tomorrow, a president that has been declared winner, a deputy chairperson can sit somewhere and say, no, I don't agree. Any MP, and remember, all the 5 MPs have been declared for NDC. The same Electoral Commission has not spoken about Damango because that was declared for the NPP. So clearly, this commission is up to an agenda. Let's see, you can have an order, but you can't enforce it. That's also true. Is that not the case?
Is that to say you participate in it? Is that to say that you won't partake in the collation exercise?
What collation?
The orders by the court.
No, as for the courts or the sheriffs and others would have to ensure its compliance. The rest, we'll leave them to it.
All right, I wish you all the best. Right, so you heard lawyer for the NDC, Godwin Tamako, talking about the decision of the court. The High Court ordered that the applications filed. Okay, we have Baba Sadiq here. He's one of the appeals. Sadiq. So we note that you sat in the proceedings for the ruling of the court. From where you stand, what can you tell us? How do you feel at this particular point?
Well, I mean, it's quite interesting. It's very good at this ability to be right. Have such detailed background calculations. The judgment is interesting. We might get
And that's Baba Sadiq. He was declared the winner of the Okaikwe Central parliamentary elections, a part of the 5 initially. We know that the MPP suit had cleared Ablekuma North. The 4 outstanding, Obuasi East, Okaikwe Central, Tema Central, and Dome Kwabenya. The NDC's suit seeking to have the Electoral Commission stop from proceeding with recall and redeclaration attempt thrown away or refused. by the High Court. You were hearing Aduji Tamaklo react to that and making a very interesting statement that you can get an order, but you will struggle to be able to enforce it. As to what really that means and what the next line of action for the NDC is, we do not know. But we know right now that the president-elect has been reacting to the development in relation to the outstanding seats which are yet to be declared. Komla Kluche is at the office of the president-elect. Is joining us right now with a bit more details. Komla, talk to us as to what really John Mahama has been saying with respect to these constituencies.
Well, John Mahama has been holding several meetings today, but of much importance is his meeting with the diplomatic corps. Almost all of them have been meeting him, and one of the concerns that he has raised has to do with the process. Despite describing it as being relatively peaceful, free and fair, he has responded, or he's spoken about the number of deaths and indicates his determination to have, so to speak, an inquest into this. But with the declaration of the outstanding 9 seats, interestingly, John Mahama has been making a comment on it. In as much as the cases have been brought before court. Just a short while ago, in meeting the members of the diplomatic corps, he says there must be fairness and justice in the processes, which must quickly be done, just as his government would also be taken off from the 7th of January. Let's listen to John Mahama speak to the diplomatic community just a short while ago.
Sometimes bureaucracy has a way of slowing things down, and I know some of you get frustrated and all that. I can assure you that I'm going to have a very open door so that we can help you remove any obstacles that are in the way of the good relations and economic cooperation that exists between our countries.
That, or the plea which they took to court, might not be what has been granted by the court. But let's try and refresh your mind again, really, as to the affected constituencies that the NDC has sought to take to the High Court. And they include Okaikwe Central, Ablekuma North, Dom Kwabenya, Tema Central, and Obuasi East as well. And their main concerns that EC officials already declared NDC candidates as winners, and that the EC lacks the power to recollate, recount, and redeclare results. Those were the concerns upon which they headed to the High Court. Let's take you right now to the courts where my colleague Lord Edwasari is stationed and get an understanding as to exactly really what's transpired. Lord, talk to us. Ablekuma North, the High Court says they should recollate and declare, but there's a mention of Nsawam Adwejiri as well. How did that become a part of the constituencies under litigation?
Right. So, Moina, you recall that the New Patriotic Party filed judicial review of the mandamus at the High Court for some 6 constituencies regarding the election. Now, the NDC also, in a separate suit, had sued the EC, restraining, as it were, urging the court to restrain them from doing so. Now, this morning, when the case was called, for the MPP's case, they did not cite the NDC as a party to the case. So in that mandamus, once they went to the court, the EC did not oppose to their motion for the collation and declaration of the result in those constituencies. Now, after that, the presiding judge in the matter ruled in favor of them. But at that point, FG Tamaklo, who is the lead counsel for the NDC, filed a joinder in the case, but it was declined because the judge indicated that he did not come properly, and so that was declined.
Right. So, Lord, let's try and clarify really what we're hearing. These orders which have been granted by the High Court are specific to the proceedings as filed by the governing New Patriotic Party and not the NDC.
Indeed. So where the North Hampton is the mandamus filed by the NDC. So in granting the mandamus after Eduji filed a joinder and was declined, the judge proceeded to make his ruling and then was mentioning the constituencies that the NPP had filed. But then he held on because he held on for some constituencies after mentioning the applicant not. And then for the reason why Sammy&Aseidu came in was that he ordered for it to proceed with the collation and declaration of the results. Now, after Edu Summer closed, coming in and then it was declined, their case was heard later after the judge had made his declaration or ruling. And so their case, if they had actually, as I stepped out, their application for the review was also making the arguments why that regarding the EP to come in. So all those arguments were coming in place, and that was why the presiding judge held on the to mention all the other directions or the orders for the other constituencies for it to be collated, because as it stands now, the NDC are now making their with the second case. There are two separate cases, and the NDC case is now being heard. And so it remains to be seen what the court will do, because now there's an order for applicant to collate the results, and then another order for Sammy&Aseidu to proceed with the collation and declaration of the results, Marina. So as I speak, Edu Summer was on the floor making this argument, and then Justin Amanuvo, lawyer for the EC, was also